Hello, SmartBear community. I'm welcoming you in SmartBear Talks, where we're discussing exciting and trending topics with software testing experts. Today, we continue introducing the ReadyAPI team to all of you so that you could learn more about us, people who are developing and managing ReadyAPI on a daily basis. Today, our guest is Phil Voulgaris. Phil is a product marketing lead. Hello, Phil. How are you today?
I'm good, Tanya. Thanks for having me. It's great to be able to talk to the community today.
Thanks for joining us today, and thanks for your willingness to talk with the SmartBear community. Could you please start with a short introduction of yourself? Where are you from, and how did it happen that you choose the software development area as a professional work?
Sure. Yeah, I'm originally from Long Island, New York, and my professional career actually started as a intelligence officer in the Navy. And so I always actually jokingly say that that's actually where my marketing career started. Because when you're an intelligence analyst, you're essentially a storyteller. I mean, your job is to take information from a lot of different sources, synthesize it, figure out what's the story here, and then relay that story to your commanding officer, to key decision makers, so they can make better decisions. And I think those mechanisms are pretty similar in the marketing function, right? You take information from a lot of different sources, your product team, sales, customers, the larger context of what's going on in the market. You synthesize it, you analyze it, and you figure out, all right, well, what's the story here? And then my job is to relay that story to customers so they can make better buying decisions. So in many ways, I kind of draw those parallels and that connection because the mechanisms in marketing are very similar to where my career started as an intel officer in the Navy.
Great. And now, if when you started when you started SmartBear, how will you explain, or what specifically do you do here for SmartBear?
Yeah, so as the product marketing lead for ReadyAPI, my job is again really to tell that story of ReadyAPI in the marketplace. How do we? I mean, the things I think about on a daily probably basis are, what are our customers saying about our product? How are we positioning ourselves in the marketplace? Are we telling the right story? Are people understanding the value proposition of ReadyAPI? Do our sales teams understand that story as well? It's not just about our customers, but internally, making sure our sales teams are up to speed on all things ReadyAPI. And then, yeah, creating great content that tells that story in an effective manner is probably how I spend the bulk of my days at SmartBear.
Okay, and I believe in order to create the story, or in order to analyze the data, right, as you mentioned, you need to be aware about a lot of stuff which is happening not around in SmartBear but around the world, about the in the API world. So how do you keep yourself knowledgeable about these data? Do you use any additional maybe special resources that you recommend to SmartBear community to always be updated about API stuff?
Yeah, I mean, there are a lot of different mechanisms in place. I mean, as a marketer, I think my number one job in terms of figuring out what's happening in the market is just talking to customers. So if you're, building out APIs yourselves as API as a product, you need to understand how your consumers consume that API. So that's probably the best source of knowledge you can gain. Just, if you're in the API space like me and you're building out APIs that people consume internally, externally, doesn't matter. Talk to the people who use the API, figure out, what's working, what isn't, so you can know how to pivot. So I would say that's probably the best resource. But there's other resources out there. Nordic API is one that comes to mind in terms of search, an external resource for the API space. That has some really good knowledge out there. And then, Gartner and Forrester reports are always a good source of information as well, to understand sort of the broader markets and some of the broader trends of what's happening. So.
Okay, great. Thanks a lot for sharing this information. And if we are talking about your day-to-day work, right? So what do you like to do the most, or maybe the stuff that you are doing and you are getting the most energy from?
I think it's probably just working from, with my teammates. As a product marketer, I always kind of think about it a bit as being the sort of quarterback of sort of the product itself. So part of my job is to kind of make sure our product team, the larger marketing team, the sales teams, we're all sort of working on the same page, working off the same sheet of music. understanding the product in a similar way. So I view my job is to kind of help kind of bring those people together a bit. Um, and so just I think the collaborative nature of the product marketing function is something that kind of energizes me. And we were talking earlier too, like I'm really happy to be back in the office. You could tell I'm back in, because it's a real, source of energy for me to be, here collaborating kind of face to face. So yeah.
Okay, great. So once you returned to the office, do you have many people? So okay, let me ask in a bit different way. Um, can you count of how many meetings or how many calls do you have daily? Or do you have any time without the calls?
I'm gonna take the fifth on that. There's a lot of meetings. Like I said, I think collaboration. You've got to meet
Is
with
a key.
people. And so yeah, there's definitely a lot of meetings, but I would say that I also do value those moments where I could sit down and just think about, all right, what do I need to write in this blog? What do I need to write on the site? What's this article I'm writing? And just there's so much value in just having that quiet time to just think and write, because writing is a big part of my job. Um, so yeah, that's definitely part of it. And I think it'd be interesting to see, like, I think, as people start returning back to the offices, where that split ends up kind of that mix going. Because yeah, I'm sure I speak with everyone else where, their Zoom meetings get filled up, but the quiet time is lacking these days, which is necessary to get, some important work done. So
Okay, and if we start maybe thinking and imagine think about the future, can you share your thoughts because you're very knowledgeable in this area and you saw the trends, or maybe you can predict something. What do you think? How will API develop in the future? What should we expect from it?
yeah, I mean, I think the API space is in this really interesting crossroads right now, where like people are trying to figure out what do we standardize around. Um, and so for Ready API, we're really sort of starting to take this stance around being sort of protocol agnostic, um, because what we're seeing is that there's no one real protocol that's you know kind of dominating the marketplace right now. Sure, REST is probably the de facto standard in many ways, but with the rise of event-driven architectures, we're seeing, async API be a specification that people are building APIs off of. You've got Open API, obviously. GraphQL is still out there. And then we're just seeing all the other sort of protocols around that ecosystem, gRPC, to name another one. And so I think we're going to continue to see that a bit more, that there's not going to be just kind of one standard. And I think the tool sets that can end up sort of resonating in the marketplace are the ones that are building a really unique experience around these multiple protocols, because you're going to need to build in a lot of different frameworks, a lot of different specifications, at least for the foreseeable future as we see it. So.
Okay, great. And so we will develop, I believe. And as you mentioned, Ready API at the moment even provides and supports many technology and many protocols, right? And can you share what makes Ready API unique in the market?
Yeah, I mean, I kind of touched upon when we think about sort of the future of API and this idea of multiple protocols sort of proliferating out there. We view Ready API as a very flexible API testing platform, and flexibility manifests itself in a few different ways. Support for multiple protocol specifications, so you can take Open API or async API, build tests off that, build tests for REST, GraphQL, SOAP, other specifications and protocols. We'll have gRPC coming out in the foreseeable future. So that's one aspect of flexibility. Another is multiple capabilities. So it's not just functional testing, it's security scans, it's being able to virtualize around these different protocols, it's running performance tests against these APIs within different various protocols. That gives you flexibility as well. And there's flexibility in how you actually execute the tests too and run them. We definitely lean into the UI experience, the point and click experience. The one click and you can import a specification. But if you want to script things out, you can do that as well. So I really try to meet the customers. We see the customers again working in multiple protocols, wanting various testing capabilities, but kind of want to do it their way. So I think ReadyAPI is positioned in the marketplace really well to meet those needs. And flexibility is kind of one of the key value propositions that we bring to the marketplace.
Okay, thank you. Thanks for sharing this information. Flexibility of ReadyAPI is a huge key as far as I understand. Thanks for joining us today. Thanks for this short interview. If you have any additional words to the SmartBear community, you can take this time in order to say them.
I think the biggest thing is just, feedback is always key. I think we're going to be building out some new feedback mechanisms into the product itself. We've got a couple of betas coming out as well, and looking for feedback around, the various protocols. Again, what to support next, but also about the UI experience as well. So be on the lookout for that. If you're a ReadyAPI user. We also, if you're not a ReadyAPI user and you're on the SOAP UI side, I really recommend that you pick up a free trial of ReadyAPI. It's a much more powerful tool. I think you'll find that you'll be able to get a lot more done faster. So you can focus on some other things as well, other than testing. So great. Thanks for having me. I really appreciate it.
Thank you. Thanks for this time. Thanks. Bye.